early.
What's good, folks? We are back. It's another episode of Early.
Real early, man.
Appreciate y'all tuning in. We got a
Subscribe, all
special
that,
guest.
you
Yeah,
know.
for sure. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and everything
Yup.
like that. We got a special guest on with us today. Eric Spivak is in the proverbial building.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
sure,
saying?
right.
Appreciate you, man, taking the time to come and chop it up with us real quick. First of all, how you doing today, man? How's it going?
I'm chilling out, just counting down to Art Basel and trying to keep my head on straight. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely,
man.
definitely feel that.
Yeah,
So, you
we're
know,
creeping up on Art Basel
yeah,
too.
I'm
December.
telling you,
It's December, right?
Next week, yeah, literally next
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
Yeah.
Want to give some context real quick in terms of how I even really came to, find out about you and what you on, man. It came all from a little audio app called Clubhouse, and it's really funny. I want to take just like a brief little glimpse into the past, probably around 2020 and 2021. I was definitely like a crypto advocate, but as an artist was always trying to find, I guess, different mediums in terms of like spreading my artwork to different communities and being able to build with people and try to monetize this thing that we create. And that I was able to get this information via Clubhouse specifically through NFTs, and you were definitely like an individual that was hosting spaces or whatnot. So with that context or whatnot, I just kind of want to even just take us back like a timestamp. We'll definitely do the deep dive in terms of like how you even got to come there. But how was that? Like, how did you even find yourself to be on Clubhouse and doing spaces within crypto? How'd you even get into crypto to come into a space to like be leading communities, educating people on that?
Yeah. So I think when faced with like extreme adversity or hardship, which we all did during the pandemic, everybody's looking for the next best thing till the next best thing doesn't exist. And they're doing that times 100. Normally in life,
Right.
we're constantly looking for that until we find satisfaction or success in whatever we're doing or where we're at. We find that level of being content. And I think that it was a pivotal moment for a lot of people to find different outlets to be seen, to be heard, to express themselves. And if you're not first, you're last in a lot of instances. And I realized, I was late to Snap, I was late to Instagram, I was late to Facebook, Periscope, Vine, etc. And when I say late, I just kind of played it off and let my friends just go crazy on them. And then finally, I jump on board around the same time as like a Tila Tequila or Yes Jules and 40 Ounce Van. And we all kind of, work our way into culture and bring our IRL personas to the digital spaces. So when I saw that there was a new opportunity and the ability to gain a captive audience, I just, saw the opening and ran through it. So, yeah, I realized on the platform there are a lot of really intelligent people with diverse backgrounds attached to really cool things that I could relate to. And I speak art, I speak music, I speak fashion and events. So it was very easy for me to get adopted into a lot of these different cultures and subcultures that existed on the platform really quickly and be seen as a industry leader because that's what I do outside of it. So
Right.
after realizing there wasn't really any room or conversation around crypto or technology or emerging anything, I one night spent like 5 hours with this random dude going back and forth buying up domains. And so we were both on GoDaddy at the same time, and we were buying Clubhouse. Sorry, we were buying Clubhouse art, Clubhouse fashion, Clubhouse photo, Clubhouse blacklist, Clubhouse VIP.
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, I'll trade you Clubhouse threads for Clubhouse racing."
Right.
So
Right.
our shopping carts are full of all these domains. We're going back and forth, and I was like, "Clubhouse crypto. Wait, why isn't there anything on crypto on this platform with millions of users during a time where everybody's online, even more than
Right.
they normally are?" And a few days later, we created a thing called NFTS Tips and just started educating people and becoming a watering hole and safe haven for all conversations crypto. And before you knew it, people did a $69 million sale with us. Sotheby's and Keith Haring's estate did a launch. Hennessy, I sold a $226,000 Hennessy bottle. Board Ape Yacht Club launched under us. It was just crazy. Every single day we were seeing different people's lives change because of this new digital economy or
Right.
internet capital markets or invisible money machines, or whatever you want to call them. But it was just
Right.
insane. And so after the pandemic, everybody online that built camaraderie and community was able to interact with each other offline, and it just blew up from there. So
Yeah,
that's kind of the beginning, I think.
Right.
yeah.
For sure. For sure.
That was
There's
a
a lot of
crazy
people's
time, that
beginnings.
clubhouse time. Me and Brooke talk about that a lot. Like,
Yeah, man.
I mean, to your point about being timely to these platforms, I think it really does make or break your experience on that platform. Like, if you're not, and also too, it's like, what is early, right? But if you're not actively visible on these platforms or if you are actively visible on these platforms when people are starting to come to them, you
Yeah.
might be one of the first, people that they gravitate towards. And just from there, you can expose yourself to new audiences. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Clubhouse, I kind of want to know, like, when you approached Clubhouse, did you kind of have that in mind, or is that something you kind of realized when you look back on it?
Oh, I knew the opportunity that exists with being early, and I think that's something that I've been perpetually doing.
Right.
Years and years ago, when I dropped out of high school at 16, because I had an online platform. It was the world's first online open mic, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You could jump on my platform and listen, or you could
Tough.
join as a rapper. And it was called Freestyle Madness. And at that time, only Justin Khan had Justin.tv for all like bootlegging of sports streams. And then Mark Cuban had broadcast.com, and I had Freestyle Madness. And, you know, I'm 20 years younger, 15 years younger than all these guys, making my money through online games like EverQuest, StarCraft, Diablo, World of Warcraft, and charging people to join my chat servers and listen to me freestyle, rap, and do prank calls for hours. So that was like my first exposure to being early, because that was streaming before we even knew what streaming was. And I worked on that business for 5 years with a developer from Portugal that we found through Craigslist that I never even met in person. And moved to New York from Tampa Bay and just kept chipping away at this. And then moved to Austin, Texas, kept chipping away. Then moved to LA, kept chipping away. And it took 5 years of just nobody understanding what the fuck is going on, and me getting door slams in my faces from Universal, Sony, Warner, Viacom, you name it. And eventually I started growing weed with my business partner,
Right.
and weed wasn't legal at that time. So we were making a lot of money with something that people understood and liked, as opposed to not making any money and losing all of it in something that people didn't understand and would like if they understood it. And we
Mm-hmm.
didn't even really have webcams at that point. So it took a while. And then by year 6 or 7, when the business is completely done for and the cannabis business is booming for us, all of those old companies and people that I talked to were like, "Hey, kid, you still working on that thing you were trying to show us? Like, we'd love to fly you out and put you up and set up a meeting, and we'll take care of you." And I'm like, "The whole thing's done. Like, you guys
Mm-hmm.
didn't believe in it, didn't believe me. I couldn't get the
Right.
support financially. The whole thing crashed and burned. So now I'm in the cannabis space." And they're like, "Cannabis, isn't that about to go legal?" And I'm just like, "Maybe. We don't know what the future of that is, but." Yeah, I'm also looking into energy drinks now and some other things to do if cannabis doesn't continue to work out, if it does go legal. And,
Right.
so being ahead kind of gives you an opportunity to look around the corner before you get to it. And a lot of people don't really get that opportunity unless they, really, a lot of people just don't get that opportunity.
No.
Yeah, that's
So I
facts.
$100%.
saw it and took advantage of it.
And like, as you're speaking on that, one thing that actually comes to mind, which sometimes could come so naturally to somebody, but it's actually a skill set that like people covet or want to learn how to do. Um, how would you say that you were able to, I guess, transition, right? Because like sometimes a lot of people don't understand like a sunken cost fallacy, right? I'm just gonna keep on at something, keep on, and then you invest so much time that you're kind of like not trying to go away. Like, and for instance, you're talking about, you were doing this grind, you were trying to do the web stream, you were kind of ahead of the time, but I wouldn't even necessarily say you jump ship. It's just kind of like, all right, if this is where the attention is, this is where I go. So I was just more. Can you speak on being the importance of being able to adapt and being able to assess, I guess, where it is that you're at with your whatever your endeavor is, and kind of learning how to, like, yo, Doesn't mean I quit or anything. It's just like you got to know how to table things and kind of just have to focus on what's coming in the present.
Yeah, I mean, you we trade money for, or sorry, you trade money for time and not time for money, right?
Right.
Trade money for time, not for money, and you're gonna run out of time first. There's no way to get that back. And so, when I had a creative agency and marketing firm called Your Conduit, I realized instead of me doing the graphic design, the web design, the copywriting, instead of me making the logos and the press kits and the decks, instead of me writing your bio and getting your domain, and then if it's artist development, your ISRC codes and setting up your distro, or if you're a painter, getting you tied in with like, top galleries. I realized like these are all things that I can basically copy my processes and give to other people that are qualified to carry it through with the same level of quality and consistency. So delegation's everything, management's everything, time management's everything, financial literacy and financial management's everything.
Right.
And I think where I'm at now is like I've already checked all the boxes, I've crossed all the T's, I've dotted all the I's, I've done a lot of things in this role that people dream of, and I've worked with just about every artist and musician and celebrity that I've ever thought of being close to. And I
Right.
think I'm at a point where um, I realize it's never too late to reinvent yourself. And as somebody who used to be a rapper, that also DJs regularly, that travels the world hosting conferences and has done the influencer and key opinion leader thing, um, I'm finding myself very, very intentional with where I'm putting my resources of energy into, and that's building what's going to get me to the next version of myself. The next best version of myself. And to get there, it's taken a lot of reflection, a lot of auditing, a lot of accountability, a lot of cutting ties from people that don't really contribute much value to my world. Um, Cutting the distractions, trimming the fat, having some friends that can make sure that I'm still doing the thing that I say that I'm doing. Otherwise, I shouldn't be saying it at all, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, it's just a lot of, I guess, self awareness and personal growth that somebody has to go through, and ideally, you go through it sooner than later. But it's something that can't be rushed or forced, and it has to be learned. It's not like common sense where you either have it or you don't.
Right.
Um,
Right.
it's more like emotional maturity where you have to learn over time by being around many people and in different instances and learning how to navigate effectively and communicate in a way that gets received and acknowledged and uh, actionable.
Nah, that's facts. The accountability part is huge too.
100%.
I do want to ask you. You mentioned how you're you see yourself as somebody who's early to a lot of things, and just from hearing your resume so far, that's facts. You know what I mean? Like you were in the cannabis industry before it became legal, which I feel like right before it came legal, which I feel like is a great time to enter it. I feel like now it's kind of starting to get that saturated feel. But when we look at crypto and NFTs, when did that grab your attention, and how did it grab your attention?
Yeah. So I got into crypto in 2016. Uh, I was dating a dominatrix, and
Oh shit.
she would give me, yeah, this,
She was getting them
ama-
payments in Bitcoin, huh?
I'm dead.
amazing,
I'm dead.
amazing individual. Shout out to my Vietnamese dom girlfriend at the time.
Hey.
Uh, and I wasn't even into that side of things, so it
Right.
was interesting. I was learning a lot. Um,
Right.
but she'd give me cash to turn into Bitcoin to make her adult listings. I'd drive her to her gigs, drop her off, she'd go in the house, beat the shit out of dudes or whatever, get paid through crypto. We would off
I'm
ramp that
dead.
back to fiat. I would take my cut, she would keep the rest, and then I would use that money to throw some of the biggest warehouse parties, raves, and undergrounds in downtown LA. Then
Oh,
she'd be able to show up with her homegirls and girlfriends. They'd have a blast. Everything's free because it's their party as well. They're invested in it.
Right.
And
Right.
then they'd meet new clients, and I'd look like a boss, and everybody would have a good time. And
uh-huh.
so from 2016 to 2020, I didn't really think anything more of it other than um, this is a really unique backdoor or uh, roundabout way of completing transactions. I only looked at it as a
Right.
transactional tool. And I think that's kind of like another trend of mine. Other than being early to things, I've always found ways of beating the system and workarounds, and I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't take no for an answer. So, even way back as a kid working at like Target and Best Buy and Chili's and Red Lobster and Papa John's and all these places, I always found my own little side hustles within the work that I was doing. And eventually, instead of using those alternative methods of generating revenue or cutting corners or saving time or whatever it was, um, I started using those powers for good. And I realized kind of through reading the Bitcoin white papers and understanding self sovereignty and ownership and identity and anonymity and privacy and all these things that we kind of take for granted that are huge conversations, that crypto is very much a key to opening a lot of that
Right.
we really just don't have because of our centralized banking systems and
Right.
our identification systems and more. So, uh, yeah, when the pandemic hit, I went full, I wouldn't say tinfoil hat, but I deep dived into it all and found myself becoming an educator to the largest community in the world for the space at the time. And that is thanks to Clubhouse, you know?
So was that also around the time? So like you use Bitcoin in exchange for fiat, and you were able to like leverage that to throw these parties. When was that moment when you said to yourself, like, maybe I shouldn't be exchanging this Bitcoin for fiat and I should just keep it at Bitcoin? Or were you kind of like, no, it's getting a goal done. I know what, like, did you basically what I'm saying is, did you know Bitcoin was a storage of value?
Like
Because,
something
like,
worth stacking.
like to even juxtapose to me, I remember the first time I heard about Bitcoin,
Mhm.
2012. Obviously, it's about Silk Road, and it's like, bro, like, why buy the tree like for this price? We could just get some Bitcoin and we can buy. And I just was like, bro, like, I was like, bro, you sound like a crackhead. Like doing all of that to get weed, I could just hit my boy up, and I don't mind paying the extra $10 or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, probably literally to like around 2016, 2017, and now I start hearing Bitcoin again, and I'm like, oh, like this shit's worth something. And before, I remember it was the conversation of, oh, two Bitcoin gets you an eighth.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm looking at Bitcoin on the Coinbase platform, and this shit costs like $1,000 for one. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, wait, this the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, did you know of it as being a storage of value, or was it just something that was convenient to conduct your business?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking for ways to get to the finish line.
Right.
So I wasn't looking at it from more of a investment side. I was looking at it as a transactional tool. The
Right.
parties were already illegal. These were already
Right.
after hours going till 6 a.m. with thousands of people every month making
Right.
20K, 30K cash at the end of the night, counting that
Sheesh.
shit at 6, 7 in the morning at a fucking diner, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Um, so
Grind
there was bigger fish to fry than
for
worrying
sure.
about where the money was coming from, and it didn't feel like dirty money because she was doing a job or a service to
Right.
receive money, and that money turned into an investment vehicle for me to produce these parties and reinforce the brand. That brand generated revenue, providing experiences that people could remember, as well as outlets for them to express themselves and to
Right.
discover new music, meet new people, and have fun in the process. So I don't see any point in that where it was overexposed to technology or crypto or anything. In fact, um, it brings me back to like being ahead and early on things because we were doing a lot of guerrilla marketing. We were doing a lot of posters and wheat
Right.
pasting, stencils, stickers. We were giving out business cards that would say like, um, "You're invited," and nothing on the other side but a logo. And you'd have to figure out what the fuck that meant.
Mm-hmm.
um, and also we rolling around with the windows down, trying to hear bass and follow bass to find where the party was and where the warehouse
Mm-hmm.
was shaking that we could go
Right.
to have a good time, but also promote at. So it was just a different time and different energy, I feel. And yeah, the whole crypto components were just really in the back line of being part of the seed to the stem.
And so now, when we like, as you foray into the crypto space, because nowadays, if you fast forward a day, like you're all over the world holding these conferences or whatnot. When was the first time that somebody had actually asked you, like, yo, Eric, could you host this conference or could you speak? Because I guess people are already hearing you on Clubhouse. And it's funny because I feel like you've already done a lot of engagements where you are providing this service for the people, whether it is DJing, whether it is performing.
Yeah.
So you're already not new to being in front of a crowd and doing what it is that you do. But when did it start being on some, yo, bro, we need more, fuck this online shit. Like,
Yeah.
yo, this Bitcoin Miami's coming up, or the Art Basel in years past, or whatever it is. Like, when was the first time that somebody actually got you for a speaking engagement?
Yeah, I mean, I think after the Clubhouse boom and bust, Twitter knocked on my door and asked if I'd be their expert in crypto and help them launch a project called Twitter Spaces. I started
Oh,
migrating people from
sheesh.
Clubhouse to Twitter,
Hmm.
and then IRL was alive and kicking, so everybody was excited to meet everybody offline. So I
Right.
had already had the juice and the momentum and the movement for people to be where I am and wanting to be where I'm at. And those people also didn't know I had 10 years plus of throwing some of the biggest and best parties in every industry. So it never felt like a crypto or tech thing. There was always diversity and cultural relevance. Everything was on point, from the food to the drinks to the projection mapping to the artists to everything. So I think it just became kind of second nature of doing a lot of what I did best prior to the pandemic, after. And that year of 2022, I really had already, I felt like I jumped the shark because I had already, um, I've done all the speaking, I've done all the panels, I've done all the keynotes, I've done all the fireside chats and one-on-ones, I've done all the Ask Me Anythings, I've done all the presenting online and hosting online. So the next phase for me was hosting these conferences. So I would reach out to them and say, look, I built the largest community in the world for the space. Here's proof of that. Here's the hundreds of thousands of people that learned about this, from Gary Vee to Paris Hilton to Bobby Hundred to Jeff Staples to
Right,
people in the SEC to JP Morgan Chase to you name it.
right,
Our watering hole was an educational platform that had no cost of entry and was never monetized. And um, I know that I can speak on any subject matter or topic or anything. Therefore, I'm actually an asset to you guys because you get an influencer, but I can fill in the blank for anybody that doesn't show up. And for me, what I get out of it is, um, I get to say that I'm a part of your thing, and you get everything that comes with me and my community and network. So you get promotion, you get marketing, you get advertising, you get PR, press, and I'm likely going to throw an after party anyway. So you got a place to take all your VIPs. And
right,
yeah, eventually, NFT NYC was the first one that said
right.
yes, and then DecentralCon
You created a
and
guide for that, didn't you? NFT NYC? Didn't you create like a guide basically?
yeah,
I think, and you made that into an NFT itself too. It's like, yo, if you have this,
yeah.
then this will able you can definitely like maneuver around the city during the week.
Yeah, the idea was like, you know, everybody's trying to throw their own thing and their own satellite events and pop-ups, and I was like, well, let me just connect all of those in an efficient way where you purchase an NFT and that token gives you access to the guide, and that insider's guide gives you access to all the best events in town, the dates, the durations, the locations, the talent that's performing, the cost of entry, discounted tickets, secret offbeat stuff.
Right.
So I basically gave them the key to the city that I have. This is all knowledge and experience and network that I have in places that I've got pull and kind of
Right.
pretty girl privilege, if you will. So I'm just giving them the juice, right? I'm giving them the key to the city, so now they can be that key holder for all their friends, family, and groups that they want to go out with. And now you see that all the time. You see these giant spreadsheets emulating what that was, and these people that are creating these insider guides and or city guides for your South by, for your Art Basel, for your Cannes Lions and Sundance and Coachella.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, again, always ahead, thinking forward. What
Right.
do
Yeah.
people need?
Facts. Facts.
Nah, that's facts, and I feel like that's really a gift too, man. Because I mean, that's just crazy. You never really there's. It's hard to tell like where people are actually going to gravitate towards. Like, and actually, this is actually a question I have for you. Like, are you kind of moved by your interests, or
Uh-huh.
do you kind of forecast what's going to be interesting if that makes sense. Like, does that make sense how I asked that?
It's kind of like
Yeah,
a
I
DJ,
mean,
right? Like I'm
Yeah,
not
like
playing
do
what I
you
want to listen to.
yeah, like do
It's
you
what the people
like are
want.
is it that your interest takes you this way, or is it that
yeah.
you see people starting to trickle over there and you're like, let me see what's going on over there, and then you kind of plant a flag? Like which do you feel like is your vibe?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am not trend hopping or chasing. I'm generally the leader of the pack.
Mm,
I don't do things for validation and acknowledgement and vanity metrics. I do things for me, and they typically, uh, depending on how much effort I want to put into it, they typically take off. And I see the world pretty differently when it comes to opportunities. I try to, or I don't even like to use try. I actively help people that work with me to become bigger picture people and have a more broad and open view and perspective of what can be done in any situation. So even me looking at you guys right now and seeing these posters behind you, you know, that's ad space in my mind. That's those are digital screens in my mind that have ads running or a QR code at the end and a limited window for people to claim after the show, you know.
Right.
Um, but or even the plant in the center, that's an opportunity for the new Cause or Bear Brick Chris Brown collab that just came out to, it's all placements and opportunities, right? Um, so I think for me, I've just always been kind of a trendsetter or tastemaker or trailblazer in these different rooms and places, and that's more from, I guess, a personal, how should I say, an interest, a personal interest of wanting to be accepted. Because
mm,
growing up, I was too black for the white kids. I was too light for the black kids. So then they put me into the Latin group, but then I didn't speak Spanish, so I didn't fit in there. And so
like yeah.
I'm playing chess, I'm playing football, I'm playing basketball, I'm playing soccer, I'm playing hockey, I'm skating, I'm rollerblading, I am
Right.
singing in choir, I'm rapping, I'm DJing everyone's birthday parties, I'm making mixtapes for the whole school. I'm doing
Right.
anything and everything to be the loudest fucking class clown to jock to fucking studious person to you name it.
Right.
And so I always have that fire to be accepted, right? And
Right.
after a while, I was like, I don't even know why I need their accept. Like, what the fuck am I
Yeah.
groveling
Right.
for? Like, why am I? I just want a punt, pass, and kick competition over here. Just want a chess championship over here. I just performed at this MC battle and made $1,500 over here, and now I'm performing at Rock the Bells in front of 30,000 people over here. What the fuck am I doing? Trying to like
Right.
get down to, Instead, I was like, I need to get the people that rock with me up on my level and realize you're only as strong as your weakest link. What can I do to help elevate and bring them up with me? And I think it was around like that time of like, I don't know, 18, 19, where I realized that you'll get in where you fit in, but don't change yourself too much to fit in, right? You can't
Right.
can't can't force it. Nothing chased is worth it. Nothing forced is worth it. Just take your time, trust the process, and do what you can to be the best that you can be.
Do you feel like your interests were taking you to all these things, or was it
Yeah,
like, or
yeah. Personal
or your
interest.
curiosity? Were you
Interest. Right.
curious, or
Yeah, you
yeah?
want to stay
Okay.
curious. Curiosity, adventure, fear of the unknown. I like when people challenge me and tell
Mm-hmm.
me that I can't do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, hey, don't touch that. That's hot. You're going to burn yourself. Eh,
I gotta see what that's
You
about.
know
I'll
damn
see
well,
about that.
Yeah.
you know damn well I'm going to touch that
Right.
shit and
Yeah.
probably
Right.
burn myself and be like,
Right.
God damn it. Like, what the?
Yeah.
You
He
just,
was right.
and they'll be
That's
like, I
fact.
told you. And I was like,
Right.
well, your hot's not equal to my hot. So,
That
like,
part.
Right. That's
that
real.
I gotta learn by doing, and hopefully I don't have to bump my head more than twice to learn anything. But um, yeah, I think that's that's the nature of the beast. If you get into something enough, you'll hit
Right.
that inflection point where the um, the grasshopper becomes, or the student becomes a teacher or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I think my love for hip hop, my love for production and instrumentals and SB 404s and MPCs and DJ Premier, Pete Rock, Alchemist, to rappers ranging from Elzai to Apathy to Crooked Eye to JID to
You had
J.
Kendrick Lamar
Cole,
at one of your first shows, right? Wasn't that
all,
one of the
all of
artists
them.
for the first artist book? Yeah. See.
Yeah, I mean, we had I did a show with YG at Stevie Aoki spot in Hollywood when he was like 5 grand, and he showed up with like 50 bloods, and they're just reaching over the bar, just grabbing bottles and putting them on their tables, creating their own bottle service. It was
Crazy.
that was a crazy night. And at the end of the day, the security of Aoki's spot, Dimax Studios, they were so fucking janky that they were taking money and letting people in through a side door, an emergency exit. So at the end
Oh,
of the night, the cash box was short, and I had to get with my homie James to talk to YG to get me off
put
the
that
hook
pressure.
for this money that I did not have at the end of the night, which
Mhm.
it was pretty crazy. But
Man,
yeah, like I had Vince Staples and Tyler and Sid and a
tough,
few others, Mike
tough,
G at my earlier shows, Doja Cat at Bananas, um,
tough.
Kendrick was at Bananas. We've had a lot of people on the electronic music side to the hip hop side, and then the fashion world's been great to me as well. From like helping staff for like Rip and Dip and Joy Rich and Adidas and Nike, and then throwing parties for H. Lorenzo, and them bringing me into like Misbehave and Kenzo and a few other companies, and it's just been a wild ride. And now, I definitely understand from Paris Fashion Week to Milan to beyond how those worlds work. I've done my own lines and collections from direct to garment and silk screen and cut and sew. Um, and I'd like to say you got to learn the code if you want to speak the language in any industry. The world
Mhm.
is just getting smaller and smaller. It's changing very fast, but big will not beat small anymore. It'll be the fast beating the slow.
Right.
Uh,
Damn, that's true.
so it's not a matter of like, oh, we got a million men behind us that are ready to fucking do some things. It's really like who can do the thing the fastest and get it far enough out. And that's where like Elon launching rockets every other day,
Right.
any success or fail, which it's all success, all the failures are successes because he's learning, right?
Right.
But every
Mhm.
time that's happening, he's distancing himself from the competition with knowledge and experience and things not to do that competitors are going to end up having to experience themselves unless he says, oh yeah, last time we tried to do that thing, this didn't work out and this is why. So I'm always a fan of innovation in these spaces, and I don't know how much I feel positive about the future of AI in these creative industries because I'm using it here and there, and I have been. I've used Claude and Gemini and Higgsfield, and
Right.
I've used all of these different ones for quite some time now. I guess it's been like 3 or 4 years. Dolly and
You say you don't
uh,
know. You say
yeah.
you don't know where you stand on that. And that actually that makes me think of something. So where? So what's your take on it? Because I speak to a lot of creatives, a lot of entrepreneurs, and then also my own experience, right? And I'm like, yo, I'm very fond of AI because I kind of use AI kind of to expedite some processes, and even sometimes like even as like on the artistic side of things, like I could edit a video in its full entirety, and then I could take that MP4 and then kind of drop it in the AI, try to do some extra things. But then you do have other side of the spectrum of people that are like, yo, this is like diminishing the artist, or nah, this is not real art, or like where, and I mean, I kind of see both sides, but I still kind of lean towards like this is a tool that enables you to just get to your goals like in a more efficient way. It's not something that kind of replaces, but you kind of like the way Shu said is kind of like I feel like you on the fence in terms of how it's getting integrated. So like, how do you feel about AI in terms of how it comes into these creative spaces?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, on one hand, it can help you get to the finish line faster, and I was just talking about speed, right?
Right.
Um, but I feel that when you remove the context and lose the culture, then you don't know how to explain what you just did.
Mm.
And losing that fabric, that material, that texture, that knowledge is extremely bad for creators. Um, and we're getting conditioned into a world where I want it and I want it now. We're in a microwave society that says hurry up and wait. and now we don't even have to wait anymore. Summon a car to my doorstep, summon food to my doorstep. I can use Robinhood to get money brought to my doorstep. I don't have to go to an ATM anymore. The list
Right.
goes on and on of everything and anything is in the power of the beholder and in your hand. So what's the incentive of learning the process or understanding how the car was built if it's just here for me to get from point A to point B and I'm trying to save time? I don't need to know how it works. I don't need to know the mechanics. But the people that don't know are kind of at a disadvantage with that lack of information. And when things change and they have to adopt and adapt, it's the equivalent of going through a phone upgrade and not being able to go backward, or replacing a iOS system on your computer and not being able to go back, and now you're stuck because you don't understand what you lost by going forward. So I think for easy digestibility, AI is great at helping people get additional support in areas where they need it and might not be able to afford it or have the resources or tools available to accomplish those extra steps. But, and I really hate using Elon as an example because I don't like there's parts of him that or parts of things that he says that I agree with and a lot that I don't. And I think that one thing that he did say on the AI front was like, it's a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization, which I think is like, it's a heavy and bold statement. But I can understand where it's like humans are to robots what dogs are to humans. And that's kind of how we're looking at it, right? Humans are to robots what dogs are to humans. So eventually, um, we are second to the machine, and the smarter it gets, the more information it has, the more abilities and attributes that it gains, the easier it will be for you to not give a fuck about anything that you're doing because it's just going to do it all for you. And now, does that take away from you being an artist? Does that take away from you being a creator? Um, and I think for a lot of artists, it's the process that makes it unique, that makes it
Right.
special.
Right.
You know,
I know so many people that ask for like I know there's like so many artists. They'll be like, "Yo, looking for a cover art. Yo, I'm looking for no AI. If it's AI, I don't want it."
Really?
They already
People be
kind of like,
making that stipulation.
yeah, they'll literally say it, and it's so funny because sometimes I'll be thinking it's like, well, what if I be like, all right, cool, and I still use AI? You can't tell, but
I do
it's
think
funny.
I do think that a lot of AI graphics. I mean, you go on YouTube, you can kind of tell which thumbnails are AI generated. Like they're
Right.
they're starting to look very similar. But Eric, you made a great point about the whole humans are to robots what dogs are to humans.
Right.
That's very
It's a bar.
interesting because it is a bar, but it's interesting because we're making the robots. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're almost creating
Right.
the thing that's going to extinct us. And I'm kind of I'm kind of saying this to both of y'all and kind of want your both of y'all thoughts, but I don't understand why we do this. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand the benefits of AI in the sense of it really does. It doesn't completely level the playing field, but it makes it so that, you know what I'm saying, if I don't know how, like I've learned a lot of things just by having chats with chat GPT and shit like that. Like I've
Right.
learned
Sure.
you know what I'm saying? I've learned how to like build apps and how to build like
Vibe coding,
MVPs for apps. I've learned how to build websites, all kinds of stuff that I would have never known. I've learned how to, something that I've really been doing is programming my iPhone. Like iPhone allows you to, I don't know if y'all know about like the automations and the shortcuts on your iPhone.
Word. Okay. I
Bro,
need
I've
that.
been going crazy with like when I pull up to this place, automatically pull this up on my phone. When I open up this app, automatically set this
Word.
reminder. Like I've been going crazy, and it's been very helpful. I'm saying this to
I
say
need to
that
see what
like
that
there's
looks like.
great. What was that? What was that, Eric?
I said I need to see what that looks like.
Right.
Yeah, nah, like it's like you can really program your iPhone to do shit based on
Because it has
triggers.
location, so location.
Yeah.
Location stuff. When you open up
Right.
when you open up an app, it can do something. When I have it so when my morning alarm goes off, as soon as I shut off the alarm, it gives me a rundown of what I have scheduled for the day,
Oh,
how long it's gonna take me to get to work. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it just automatically spits that out. You know what I'm saying? In real
Yeah.
time. But I'm saying all of this to say that I don't understand why. Like, how many versions of iRobot do they got to make where like they show that these things are gonna extinct us, but people go harder and harder on trying to make them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
my take is, I just think like humans just have this insatiable
about
urge
advancement.
to just
advance.
and like I
Never
think right
give
now
enough.
there are many individuals in the world that are like, yo, like, where's the sentient computer, the computer that thinks for itself, that
Yeah.
has feelings? Like,
Yeah.
we want to see that, and then people be like, bro, why?
That shit is
Why
going
do
to
we
think
want to
about
see
how do
that?
I eliminate
Yeah,
you at some point. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at some point it's going to think,
man.
how do I get rid of this guy?
It's kind of like how sometimes in the world, I remember there's like certain countries, like they're trying to build the tallest building just for the fuck of having the tallest building.
So
Like,
they
I
can
think
say
right
that
now
they
it's
got
in
it.
Dubai, I think Dubai might have
Yeah,
it.
the
and they're
birds.
But somebody's
Yeah.
working on trying to outdo that.
Yeah, you know.
What's your
Yeah,
take, Eric?
I mean, I asked this. I hosted Blockchain Futurists in Miami last month, and I asked one of my panels. I was like, "When is enough enough?" And I asked that in the sense of stable coins, because now everybody and their mother's creating stable coins.
Yeah.
And in my mind,
So it's like, which one's stable? The stablest.
it's like, nah, y'all need to find stable jobs and maybe work in the stables with some horses and fucking do some
Need a
manual
stable
labor.
income.
Like, have some stable family and relationship time, you know.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's monkey see, monkey do, and clone and fork in the tech and finance world. So it's very much like, anything you could do, I could do better. I could do anything better than you. And I see the same thing on the AI side of it, where it's like, okay, Nano Banana, which, like, what the fuck with the name, but Nano Banana, right? And then Bananas and Pajamas 2.0 is coming out next week, and then Gorillas in Pajamas coming out next month, and then Eggsfield, Midjourney, whatever. And so I don't know, no pun intended, who to cling to in these different options that we have. Options are great, but I'm very much like, if you give too many people too many options, they don't make decisions. And if you don't give people enough options, they don't make decisions. And that's where it goes into presentation is key. And it's the food court technique. You can have the worst food on the face of the earth, but if it looks amazing, people will at least try it. But you could have the best food on the fucking planet that you've ever had in your entire life, but if it looks like shit, nobody's going to try it. So that company, that competitor that got you to just try it, to go one step further, they're one step further. They're one step closer to at least some point on that finish line. But as we see, the goalpost keeps moving, and I honestly, I would love to see a lid put on it, or a cap, or a top, or a ceiling, because I think that's what that's one of the biggest problems with where our world is, in my mind. I think we overbuild products. That's what killed Clubhouse. Clubhouse could be absolutely fucking crushing it, but because they got cocky and arrogant, Twitter came and ate their lunch, and then and that's it. They're like, oh, we already have all of the users. We could do what you're doing. We have Periscope. We're already built in, good to go, and we're crypto native. Like, why are we letting this company come up and take food off our plate? So I think.
How do you feel like Clubhouse got cocky and arrogant? Like, because I was on Clubhouse too. I do remember them adding like new features and stuff like that, but I thought it was more them trying to. Because the thing is, you look at all of the social media platforms that still exist today, the TikToks, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, and they do it. Yeah, like, it's very rare that a joint is going to actually like disappear. But I feel like they have to innovate. They have to add new features to keep people on the platform. Like, in my opinion, I feel like people started leaving Clubhouse because it was like, okay, like, how many times are we going to just like talk? You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like people started leaving, especially too when they opened up, because I remember it was like invite only, it was iPhone only. When they started, I think people loved that exclusivity. You know what I'm saying? And then when it kind of opened up a little bit more, I feel like people were like kind of like, okay, well, it's not exclusive anymore. We're still here, but it's not exclusive anymore. And then I feel like, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you guys were deeper into Clubhouse than I ever was. But from like not an outsider, but from just like my perspective, I feel like people started putting pressure on them to add more features to make it less just like one dimensional.
Yeah, I think it's what I said earlier with people looking for the next best thing to the next best thing doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Now the next best thing doesn't exist. We got Instagram, we got LinkedIn, we got X or Twitter or whatever. We got TikTok, got Facebook, got nothing else really.
And
Maybe
then, but then you got all these,
Twitch.
you got the Instagram that's trying, like basically tried to take TikTok's lunch. You know what I'm saying? You got
Well, you got
YouTube
yeah, you have
Shorts tried to do the
Threads.
same. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
all
Threads,
these platforms
Shorts.
then started implementing the okay 6 second vertical video, 15-second vertical video. You know what I'm saying? Like they all started implementing that type of shit.
Yeah, and I think arrogance kills creativity and curiosity and passion, and I think that's where Clubhouse got really like cocky and arrogant. They overbuilt product. They added too many features. They started rearranging the UI, UX. All of that changes the user experience. And I don't know if you've ever gotten your mom or dad or somebody in your family to go from Android to iPhone or vice versa, but that shit's a nightmare for them. And they
Right.
will
Like system
and they will say
overload.
they
Like
Right. Yeah, right.
their
yeah, they
heads
will say
explode.
How do I
they
start
will
this
say
thing?
they hate it. Yeah, they'll say they hate it
Start calling you
forever.
every five
Right,
minutes for every
right,
little thing.
right.
I'm not speaking from experience whatsoever here. Um, but but I think like there's got to be what is considered industry standard, and I think the status quo and industry standard just doesn't exist in a lot of these spaces, and that's why everybody feels this need to keep building and building and building, which creates a house of cards. Because even what's happening in AI right now, since everybody's trying to compete, they just keep needing to put more gas in the tank. And that gas is money coming from investors and VCs and private equity, family offices, whatever. But with people prompting, I need a banana taped to a wall at Art Basel and my face next to it. Oh, I didn't like that version. Let me do it again and again and again and again. The cost of producing that stuff originally was super expensive. Now it's getting down to cents. It's like,
Right.
it used to be like $3 to $5 per. Now it's like 50 cents per or 10 cents per or eventually pennies. But the data centers and the resources and the costs associated to keeping these platforms alive isn't sustainable. So a lot of them are
Yeah.
not going to last a year. A lot of
Right.
them are going to disappear, much like these apps that are overnight sensations and disappear, like the one that I can't even remember the name of that stole the IP from the Japanese artist that I can't remember the name of, but everybody did it as a trend for a moment with the 2D character.
Murakami.
It wasn't Murakami, but
Okay,
it
because
was
I remember Artifact did that. Like, but yeah, word. I feel you.
yeah.
I'm trying to
It
think.
was a legacy brand. It was a Japanese legacy brand IP,
Okay.
and everybody they downloaded the app to do the 2D version of it. I want to say Studio Ghibli,
Studio
or
Ghibli. Yep,
I've
yep,
heard of
yep.
yeah,
that.
I've heard it. Yep.
yeah, and then they released like a cease and desist for all these platforms, and they no longer have these apps or platforms that were solely on allowing you to do that. But it worked for a moment.
Right.
Hmm.
So I think the way that I build things is take the best of a lot of different things and roll it all into one. I think the way that a lot of these companies build things is they would rather acquire a pre-existing arm or leg to complete their machine, um, versus creating something from scratch using the similar processes of what made their main thing the bread and butter. Um, so I think like I'm hungry for the next social platform that can dunk on what Instagram and Twitter offer and LinkedIn. Um, I'm not finding it. I've looked around a lot. I keep my ear to the streets. I sign up for betas and private access. I get invited to all sorts of stuff. It's not there. And same thing in the event side of things. It's like Luma came in and swept the leg of Eventbrite and Splash that and Ticketmaster and StubHub and and all these other ones.
Hmm.
I'm watching Posh and
Yeah, we
Dice
on pause.
and
Right. Yep.
yeah, I'm
Yep.
watching all of them kind of duke it out. But
Right.
Luma has the most user friendly experience for everything. And then Partiful's ability to text message people comes in second. Um, so it's just, yeah, people adapt, they pivot, and I think these companies just need better leadership, stronger marketing, more innovation to not try to constantly reinvent the wheel, but maybe just polish the ones they already have.
No,
Yeah.
that's definitely real. I want to now kind of bring it into present day and kind of talk about what you've created, I guess, to address a lot of pain points. Can you talk about new friendship tech and what it is that
Yeah.
you aim to do with that?
Yeah. So in lieu of hosting all of these conferences, I get a bird's eye view of the back of house as well as the front of house. And so I have a lot of access, right? I get to see what's wrong, what's right, what's left on the table, what could be done better. I generally ask to partner with these conferences before competing with them. I
Okay.
say, hey, I'm going to be in town doing events that same week. I'd love to see if I could be your official after party or if we could work together at some point. Most of the time, they blow me off, and then after they reach out. But I saw that, especially in the tech and finance world, which are spaces I don't come from at all. These panels, keynotes, and firesides were the same talking head,
Right.
from start to finish, back to back to back to back. No diversity in it, no inclusion of anybody else, just the same person or character or persona. So that plus the cost of accommodations, cost of tickets and entry, um, just so many different things that I felt could be done better. I basically just started New Friendship Tech out of spite, and I created it adjacent to a conference in Los Angeles called NFTLA. And I was like, you know what? For every day that you have your thing, I'm going to have my thing for those same 3 days across the street. It's going to be louder, cooler,
Nice.
sexier, stronger, smarter, and it's going to be free entry, free drinks, free food from start to finish, with at least two women per stage per panel from start to finish, and equally inclusive music programming at the end. And I'm going to feature industry leaders in art, music, fashion, tech, and culture. All things that you don't have outside of maybe the tech or the finance. And so I had about 4,000 attendees to my first New Friendship Tech events between the Ace Hotel and Theater in downtown LA and a few private event spaces. And because of that noise and how it looked from the outside, I got asked to come to Chicago after and do the same thing with these guys that have a thing called Future Gallery. And we took over the 900 North Michigan Mall, which is a luxury mall in Chicago, and had the same thing: art, music, fashion, food, drinks, education.
Tough,
I was DJing with Selection and a group called All Summer.
tough.
Chance the Rapper there, Rafik Anadol, Krista Kim, a bunch of other artists as
Yeah,
well.
tough.
And then because of that, New York came calling, same thing there. Miami after that, same thing there. And so looking back at the end of the year after Art Basel 2022, uh, I was like, shit, I just did like 9 or 10 events in 4 major metropolitan cities that run culture in the United States. I went from a local brand to a national brand or multinational brand. So what's next? And I was like, I need to keep going and go global. So then I brought New Friendship Tech overseas to Tokyo, to Seoul, Korea, and to Singapore, and then to Dubai, um, Toronto, and recently to Taipei and to Ho Chi Minh.
How many
And
events have
I
you done
just
this
keep,
year?
oh God, I've like done 30 or 40 events this year.
Sheesh.
Damn.
And
Sheesh.
the last 3 months were just like Miami, Las Vegas, Toronto, Dubai, New York, LA, Singapore, Seoul, Shanghai, Ho Chi Minh, Tokyo, Paris. I don't even remember anymore. It's Denver,
That was getting longer and
Denver.
longer.
No, that's wild.
Yeah. But now I've hit this point where it's just like, okay, I can keep going the way that I have, because every year I'm adding another 4 or 5 locations that it's
Hmm.
scaling and growing, and I'm planting seeds that the following year, after I'm cultivating them for a year, have grown. and eventually those seeds become tree trunks, and then I need to create new branches where those tree trunks are. So those tree trunks are basically communities. They're community hubs, community managers. So if I went to DC, for example, I would have a community rep that quarterly or monthly would be producing New Friendship Tech DC. And eventually that would get so big that I'd be able to bring all the other reps in cities together and have it huge in DC, and then push through some policy stuff, which we just did stuff with the Clarity Act and the Genius Bill. New Friendship Tech was a part of that process going forward.
Oh.
So now I'm at a point of building New Friendship Tech into a conference, like officially like one main conference and not a bunch of small conferences. And the acronym is NFT, not non-fungible token or no fucking time or Ninja fucking turtle, but new Friendship Tech. And the idea behind it is technology creating new friendships in a world where social media used to bring us closer together and now it pushes us further apart. And the only way to really beat the algorithms is in-person experiences. So I'm producing those all over the world, adjacent to the top conferences, festivals, and summits, featuring industry leaders in art, music, fashion, tech, and culture, everything being free entry, free drinks, free food, and the goal to be to democratize information at scale. So everything that's said on my stages is translated, transcribed, and captioned into over 200 languages and published on the blockchain, so it can't be removed, altered, or edited, and it reaches a global audience. So it's localized to kids in India and Africa and all over, right? And then to redistribute wealth, to allow people to get compensated for their participation. So that in itself is a model that flips the whole event world on its head, turning social currency into equity by way of participation, saying, you don't have to spend money to be here, but without you being here, there's no here. So I need 10 of you in my room or 100 of you in my room, or I have an empty room. So your knowledge, your experience, your style, let me reward you for that. And so I take a portion of the earnings from these events, I put it back into the business, and then that other portion I redistribute equally amongst the attendees. And that's the whole thing. And it's gonna be a game changer once it gets to that 6,000, 7,000 people in one place for 3 days moment, which is basically next up, and why I'm looking for angel investment and some capital right now.
Right. Yo, bro, that's dope, bro.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
I guess, now kind of like towards the end of this convo, can you talk about, I guess, is Art Basel the way that you guys are gonna wrap up the year? You got things going on there, or you got something happening after that in December as well too?
Yeah, I'm flipping a coin on Dubai and Abu Dhabi for events for Solana Breakpoint and Bitcoin Mena.
Okay.
But my focus is Art Basel. I'm DJing the headline slot at Bit Basel at the Sagamore Hotel on the beach. And then I'll be at Nolcha events supporting my friend Arthur. I normally take over the Moxie Hotel and Rooftop and throw a party as well.
Nice.
Westside Gun has his new wrestling series. It's going to be happening down there. I'm doing an event with Aptos, Pudgy Penguins, OpenSea, and a jewelry company that I'm working with called Sentiment.
Okay.
So, yeah, your boy's going to be busy between Scope and Basel and all the different art fairs and shows going on there, and going to sleep at 6 a.m. every night, waking up bright and early.
Every morning, you
if I
mean?
get a chance to sleep. Yeah, 6 a.m. every night, right?
Right.
But yeah, my goal is to find some new talent that I can work with, some dope artists, good people, some investors, and expand the team, because it's all gas, no brakes from 2026. Because in LA we also have the World Cup, and I want New Friendship Tech happening at the same time as the World Cup.
Wow. World Cup and the Olympics too, right?
2028, yeah.
2028 is Olympics.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I need. I've done events in LA for 15 years, every month. So I know from the beach to the desert, from the hills to the hood, I'm good. But I like to go from good to great.
Right.
So
100%.
I need this conference. Yeah, I need this conference to slap and happen in October of next year, I think, in alignment with the World Cup. And then after that, we're going crazy. Yeah,
man. You said something about like social media was meant to bring us closer together, and now we're in a time where it's taking us further apart. And that's so interesting to me, man. Like that's very well put. I butchered what you said, but the way you put it was so well put, man. Because if I think about just the fact that three of us are right here having a conversation, it's because of social media. You know what I'm saying? But we've gotten to a point where I don't even know, like people aren't even being their authentic selves on social. Like, you know what I'm saying? You might really follow somebody on IG, really get to like who they present themselves to be, and then if you ever like run into them or meet them at a function, they have an IRL thing and you go, they're not who you thought they were. Or you see a lot of people who have these huge followings, they try to throw something and no one shows up. You know what I'm saying? So like it's very interesting how we've gotten to a place where you just don't, you never really know what you're gonna get when you get on social. You know what I mean? So I think what you guys are doing with new friendship technology new friendship tech is very interesting, bro. Like I really think that it's something that's absolutely needed, because you also kind of, I don't know if y'all hear this stuff in the news, or not in the news, but just in social commentary about how like we're as lonely as we ever been. For sure. Gen Z, who really is probably the first generation to actually grow up with a phone in their hand from infanthood. Right. They're the most lonely generation and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like so crazy to think, because the phone was put in our hand to like make life better and easier and simpler and connect us more. And you know what I'm saying? Like you can literally, I was talking to one of my family members the other day, and I was just thinking like, dog, like it used to cost, I'm from Nigeria. It used to cost us money to make phone calls to Nigeria. Now I can video FaceTime with somebody in Nigeria, and it's like, it's very crazy.
And I feel like it goes to what, you were talking about earlier too, Eric, in terms of when you have too many options, it kind of like induces this state of paralysis. Imagine being a young child or like a young adolescent growing up, and you just have a barrage of millions of different perspectives, opinions on shit that doesn't even necessarily even matter. Yet you're just indulging in it all. So much so, this phone has been in your hand since like infancy. Do you even have thoughts of your own?
No.
Or are you literally just...
People aren't developing their own thoughts.
Of the shit that's
they're just regurgitating the shit that they hear,
man,
and the opinions that they take in.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's very crazy.
It's bad. I mean, I look at it as like, this last week was my birthday, and I got locked out of my thank you, and I got locked out of my IG, right? 400, 500, 600 messages, and I'm like, this sucks. Because I know that a portion of these are work, a bunch of these are just people saying happy birthday, but out of sight is out of mind. And if there's any day out of the year that I'm able to convert, lemons to lemonade and lemonades to lemonade factories, my birthday is when I drop shit.
Turn a happy birthday text into a pitch.
Oh yeah, that's all eyes on me, and that's what. So, I'm over here trying to troubleshoot, going back and forth, and now, like, being able to speak to a human is going to become a privilege and a luxury. We're not fully there yet, but it is coming. Where talking to a live person is going to become a privilege and a luxury. And so you need to understand how to communicate with these fucking chatbots so you can get to that person. Otherwise, you're going to get frustrated as hell and no support and go back and forth. So I'm over here duking it out with Meta AI and all sorts of other things, Reddit AI, all this stuff. And I ultimately end up having to buy the new iPhone 17 because I can't get past the software issue to resolve my problem to get back into my IG. So instead of solving the problem that way, my workaround is buy a new phone. Knowing that I have
buy more technology. Bro, you want to fix your own technology, buy new technology.
Exactly. Knowing like I don't need a new phone. I don't want a new phone. But what's in that inbox can buy me 3 or 4 new phones. So I better get my ass in that inbox any means necessary, right? But now I'm stuck here with this new iPhone that I have no use for, and it just it is
Right.
what it is. But
Yeah.
now I don't, and they want to give me a rebate to give the old phone back. I'm like, nah. You know how much
No.
crypto and all that?
Right.
Nah. You're like, I know how I've been like the exposure and visibility that I've had. Like I've had wallets cracked for 6 figures. I've lost a lot of money and been compromised a lot because the higher you climb, the more of a target you become. So I've
Yeah.
kind of
Right.
pushed myself back a bit to be like, hey, you don't need to be hot boy all the time. You don't got to be so loud, you know?
Right.
That's
Um,
facts too.
so I've just been, protecting my peace and not being as out there, but even turning in phones, like you're opening yourself up to a world of accessibility to vulnerabilities from malicious people because you have no idea where that's going to
Yeah,
go. And
sure.
we have our whole lives in them at this point, and we have them our whole lives at this point. So yeah, it's we're in a interesting predicament or problem in my opinion because I don't like that's why what I'm building is kind of a solution to the problems that I face. And I feel like if I face these problems, there's other people that do too. So it becomes relatable
100%.
to everybody. And that's the goal of New Friendship Tech because after these conferences, I'll be able to onboard everybody to the social platform side of it, and who
Hmm.
knows, be the next underground Instagram or Clubhouse or
Yeah.
Twitter or
Hell yeah.
whatever. And that's essentially the other end of it. When you go to a city, you got this group chat of people that you might not know, but they're vetted because they're part of the culture attached to New Friendship Tech. And these people can meet with you for food, go shoot some pool with you, show you some
Yeah.
landmarks, take care of you if you crash out, whatever the hell. And then
Right.
you can do that for them in your city. And that's just that mutually beneficial group think we all win type uh, opportunity I'm creating for everyone.
Yeah,
That's
man.
dope, bro.
Super necessary right now.
100%.
So yeah.
100%, bro. We appreciate you for taking this time, to sit with us and drop a lot of gems, knowledge, insight, and kind of share your perspective in terms of how you got to this point. Is there any? Can you drop where it is that everybody can follow what you got going on in the world, your personal account, and same thing with what you got going, New Friendship Tech. Just let them know where they could catch you at.
Yeah, I think my handle's at the bottom, but you can just type in
Yep.
ERICSPIV on Instagram and it'll pop up as Eric
Okay.
Spiv is your plug. I have the same thumbnail on every platform. Uh, ERICSPIV on every platform will bring you to me. And my full name, you can Google if you want to see interviews of work I've done with everyone from Taylor Swift's manager to working with ASAP Rocky to putting in Obama Boulevard in LA to all sorts of things.
Tough, bro.
There's a very interesting rabbit hole of inspirational content out there around
You
me,
got like
and
a you got like a
yeah,
Forrest Gump kind of story, bro.
Renaissance
Like you
man,
you
right?
you've been you've been in every little thing. You know what I'm saying?
haven't even haven't even gotten started. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
doing what
that
I'm
Yeah,
part.
doing
man.
That
because
part.
I'm doing what I'm doing because I want to, not because I have to, and I'm
Hmm.
blessed to have the opportunity to do that, regardless of lack of funds or resources or tools. But I've been around trust fund kids and people with daddy's dough and infinite credit lines and more, and I see like nothing matters to them. They're just doing it because they can, but there's no attachment. Whereas like I look at when I'm able to accomplish really big things with very little, it's really inspiring to those around me because they know that I don't come from anything. I have no siblings. I'm single parent household. Dad wasn't around. High school dropout. Like even that part alone. Like I'm speaking on stages at colleges and universities that have sent me rejection letters, or that I used to sneak into and ear hustle in the back of the class.
Hmm.
So it's an interesting full circle story that's happening here, and I think that everybody needs to have people that they can hear that share some form of hardship with them, because we all go
Yeah.
through it.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Like Brooks said, man, appreciate you for taking the
For
time to come
sure,
on
bro.
here,
For sure.
and definitely got to catch up again soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In the new year.
appreciate you
Yep.
guys.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
happy Thanksgiving weekend to both of
Yeah.
y'all.
Happy Thanksgiving, man. Eat good. You already know.
Likewise.
Early.